Good morning. Welcome back to In the Garden. Paul and Taft here. And Paul, we're talking about pruning. There's several reasons that we do the pruning. We do it for aesthetics. We obviously do it maybe to encourage growth and sometimes just for the health of the plant or the tree itself. But when we realize that we have to do that, the next thing that we have to know is really what tools we're going to use to make sure that we do the right kind of pruning.
Because there are specific tools of the trade, and there are a number of them. You can get a little carried away and have a huge arsenal like I do, but for most people, there's just a few that you really need to keep in mind.
Okay, so basics.
First and foremost, just some handheld pruners.
Okay.
The issue is price. If you're just a casual weekend gardener, you don't have to spend a fortune for a good set of pruners.
Okay.
So, we got $15, there's 20, there's 35, all the way up to the granddaddy of them all, the Felco #2. Those in the industry consider this the finest set of pruners money can buy. These are $80. They will last you years and years and years. So it's just one of those things. If you're just a casual weekend gardener, you don't need to spend a fortune on handheld pruners unless you just want to. But if you do a lot of serious pruning, then you need a good tool. As my dad would always tell me, a cheap tool is an expensive tool. Now, I didn't know what that meant for years, but basically it was, you can spend a little bit of money, but chances are you're going to have to replace that tool in short order. So sometimes better to just go ahead and buy the
Definitely
good
get what you pay for.
So, saws.
Okay.
All kinds of saws, bow saws, But to me, these folding saws are really nice. They don't take up a lot of space.
Yeah.
Exactly. And they have a locking mechanism on them. And they work on the pull stroke.
Okay.
So, but you can really go to town. You can cut easily a 4-inch branch with one of these saws. And it locks in place, so that's nice. And, you can carry it around in your back pocket.
It's a good safety issue, too. You don't want something like that hanging in the tool shed.
Right.
Yeah.
Loppers.
Okay.
There comes a point in time where maybe if you're trying to get a lot of work done or working in the interior of a big shrub, the saws are a little more difficult to deal with. Loppers, not so. And these can cut easily 1.5 inches without a whole lot of effort. They're designed so that they really have tons of torque. So you can get in there and you can do a whole lot of pruning with these. Also nice after you've made your pruning cuts and you got a big old pile of stems and twigs and sticks. It's nice to be able to go in there and just
chop them up.
Right. Now, Taft, this is one of my favorite pruning tools of all. It's a little weird.
Okay, it does look a little weird, yes.
Okay, but basically imagine that you're working in a real thorny rose bush, okay? And you want to get in there without scraping your arms all up. You want to get in there and do some pruning in the interior. So you just reach in and you make your cut, but at the same time, it also grabs that stem so you can pull it right out.
So you don't have to reach your arm in there and grab out the cut limb.
So handy. Or if you're working up in something, you can just make your cut, and then instead of it dropping to the ground, you can just put it over in the pile.
Very convenient.
I love
Very
these.
handy, yeah. Kind of a new type of tool.
And then this may well be probably my favorite of all.
Okay.
I always say that. This one's my favorite, this is my favorite. But this is it's a ratchet style pruner that works, just like a handheld. But this is for getting up in the trees where you can reach up, and there's 2 different mechanisms that you can use. If you're up this high, then you can just pull from here and make your cut. And by the way, we're talking easily 1.5-inch cuts with this. It's got a lot of torque, a lot of power. Or if you need to get up even higher, then you can reach up and you pull from this end,
pull it down,
and it makes the cut. So these are super handy, and you can really go to town with these. You can get a lot of pruning done in a hurry with one of these.
And we always talk about that is helpful because a lot of times we're talking safety as well, and that extra foot or two that we may want to get up on a ladder, we're going to be able to do that with this, and it's going to keep those problems at bay a little bit.
Which is such an important point. You've got to look at the job at hand and determine, okay, that's a pretty big branch and it's pretty high up in that tree. Is it time to call a professional? Okay. Only you can make that call, but don't take a chance. I mean, if there's any doubt, call a certified arborist and have them come do the tree work, because you simply don't want to risk injury. And an amazing number of accidents happen every year from people getting up on a ladder and trying to do a job that they're really not equipped for.
Yeah, and bringing tools out there that they probably shouldn't be using up on a ladder as well.
Like chainsaws.
Like chainsaw, yeah. What could go wrong there? Well, it's a good thing that we're talking about this because we're getting ready to go into the pruning season as we get through the late winter time, and it's always the best to make sure that we have the tools that we need so that everything looks good in the springtime.
Let me tell you though, the main reason you prune?
What would that be?
Keeps plants regular.
Oh, well, yeah. That's a good thing. We like to stay regular. The plants do too, I guess.